In the meantime, I had Nim I didn't do this in a session or anything, but she talked with Yvonne, sorry. And she gathered some information from Yvonne. Yeah, she learned a little bit about lockpicking. She doesn't have a proficiency in it yet, but she learned a bit about it, and she also learned that the silk strands try not to get in the way of the red coin, also known as the crimson coin here in Gryald. And that Merrick is trying to get to Ivestad to pay off some big-time gangsters that he owes money for, or some council of the thieves or some shit like that.
Gosh, I'm so glad I was able to help. Right, where did you say the apothecary was, Steve?
All you know is it's somewhere along this street, according to the innkeeper's directions.
Okay.
All right, let's go down the street.
Alright, there's a woman getting water at the well here.
Mm-hmm.
Good lady, darling. Would you happen to know where the apothecary might be?
Yes, sir. It's just down the road 3 buildings. I believe you can see the green sign hanging off the awning there.
Ah, it's very good. Thank you. Okay. Think.
Wow.
There's, hold up now. Alright. I'm assuming that, like, we're gonna be able to see what the fuck?
You see a woman lying unconscious on the ground in front of the apothecary shop.
Oh no! Alright, I run up, but I put a piece of cloth over my mouth as I'm running up.
She appears to be a plain adult female woman, human that is, and she has a large white mantle and cape that have been intricately woven into her red robe, and her black hair is graying along the sides, and she has somewhat of a widow's peak there, and her she's laying there lifeless, but appears to be breathing.
I put something over my mouth and nose,
Yes,
like a sensible person.
Should
I'm going
we
to. Yes.
heal her by chance, or is it basically?
Well, that's fine. Excuse me, ma'am. I very gently touch her shoulder while holding the cloth over my hand with my other hand. Does she respond?
She moans for a moment, but does not respond intelligently.
Are you injured? Are you sick? Does she have any sign of the rot?
Make a medicine roll.
Okay.
When her eyes open for a brief moment, you see that they're somewhat dilated. You see that there is no sign of the rot, as you've seen Nimlalwe for an extended period of time and now know the symptoms very well. You don't believe that she is infected, or at least in the latter stages of the rot.
Well, it isn't the rot, I don't believe. She could be poisoned or injured. Falminar, knock on the door of the apothecary. See if anybody's there.
Yeah.
So you see a man standing a little under 5'5" and is a bit slender. He's very muscular, particularly particularly in the legs, and he has many tattoos on his skin with designs of liquid dripping along his veins. He's well dressed, but even with his fine clothing, he looks run down. He sports slicked black hair, and judging by the bloodshot nature of his eyes and massive bags underneath one of them, you imagine he has not slept in days. And he says, "I was just talking with your friend here. Welcome to my shop."
Yes, do you have any idea what's happening to the woman outside? Do you know that there's a woman moaning and not really lucid lying on the ground in front of your shop?
Long white hair, or...
She had a graying hair, a white cloak with the... What was it, red and white robes or something like that? Was it?
Yes. She came in here and bought a thing or two. Perhaps it was that.
Well, she bought a thing or two. Is she poisoned?
I wouldn't say she's poisoned. She may have chosen to ingest a thing or two.
That's not.
You know, so she's high?
One might call it high, one might call it enlightened, one might call it all-seeing.
Oh, so do your clients usually pass out and have drug trips on the front door of your shop?
Not on the front door of my shop, no. But we do offer
Well-
services if you would like a safe place to engage in such activities.
No, that's all right. I mean, it doesn't seem like it's very good for your business or very safe for her to be just lying there moaning on your front door.
She was saying something about her son and wanting to see where he was and how she could save him, and she ordered a heaping helping of devil's root, which, of course, you know is a little something that allows you to see beyond what's happening now.
Oh. And she took it right in front of your shop. She must be desperate.
She was
Well-
talking very fast. It seemed like it was an urgent matter.
Well, I suppose we'll check on her in a moment. Are you interested in a cure for the rot?
Cures are not something I generally deal in, but I'm curious. What have you found, and what do you speak of?
Well, you know, we figured we would pass it out as much as we could, to try to help as many people as we could. So, I have the cure for the rot. I think the list, with me. I think Cedric gave it to me.
At least it
Do
should have.
you produce the list?
Yes, I produce the list. I say you can write down a copy of this if you would like.
Make her an insight roll.
Okay. Jeez.
Wow, these
Fucking
rolls
me, what
are killer
I'm-
today.
A
Nat
20, nat 1,
20s.
nat 20
I'm
again.
getting the
Oh.
opposite.
Wait a
Jesus.
second, I'm confused here. So why is there like a parentheses 2 next to that? How are you getting...
The 2 is her natural.
Oh, the bonus on top. So it was a
Yeah.
20
Yeah.
plus 2. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. You can see that he is genuinely interested in the list. He wants to see what's in it and how he can potentially profit from such a list. So he takes it and looks it over with great intent. You don't even see him take notes. You see that he recognizes each of these things and makes a mental note of what is in them.
Edwin walked into the room and belched, hoping it would get picked up by my microphone, and then left again. Yeah, I see you smirking over there. Anyway,
Not sound like it.
um,
I'm yelling from the doorway. So, what's going on down there?
oh, she should hopefully be all right for now. Sir, speaking of,
I'll
since
walk
we've
down.
just given you something, you know, for you to memorize, it's fairly valuable. What happens if she overdoses on those mushrooms?
They weren't mushrooms. It was the devil's root, as I said.
Oh, the root. Yes.
That's right.
What happens if she overdoses on those roots?
She will likely go a little bit mad for a time, perhaps a few days, perhaps a few weeks. But I didn't give her enough to really take all at once and allow the stomach to handle it, you see. The stomach can only handle so much, so unless she's vomiting out there, she should just
Jesus.
have enough to see what she needs to see.
All right.
Can I help you with something? You all seem well off and interesting folk who might be interested in something that might be hard to find elsewhere.
Well, how many of the ingredients on that list do you happen to have at hand here?
So, out of character, I'm pulling that list up. I'm also having a look at his wares. He says, at the moment, I do not have any of them, unfortunately.
Oh, that is Definitely unfortunate. So wait, tell me about this devil's root. What exactly does it allow someone to see? Does it really allow them to see the future or things beyond what they know, or what?
Some people eat it, but most people grind it up and snort it. I assume if she's lying out on the front of my step, she only had time to eat it, which means her visions are not going to be potent enough. But typically, someone who takes it will black out and see visions of hell, the 9 hells. But sometimes your visions will allow you to see things that haven't happened yet, things that are yet to come.
Oh, I think I might have seen a little too much of that already as it is. Have you heard any odd rumors from the nobility that I'm sure come down here for your wares every once in a while about the king?
I can't say that I have, but I can say that business has picked up at an unusual pace lately.
What are people shopping for?
People come to me when they need anything that produces certain effects. He's very vague, as you discern from this conversation.
I see. Well, I appreciate your somewhat candor. Is there anything anybody here wants or needs? I turn to my companions.
And as you say that, he says, think very carefully if you need something that helps your mind go to different places, or something that perhaps can make someone you dislike very much to go away forever.
Ah, the forever box, yes. I look around at my companions.
Do you have anything that temporarily puts people out for, well, preferably about a day or so?
Yes, absolutely. He rummages through his ledger, as I in real life look through a long list of wares that he has.
Yes.
Let's see.
It's like, what can I make up this time?
No, there's a lot of
I
stuff
have
that's
some.
pre-listed. It's actually very complex shit, with all complex mechanics. Let's see. Okay. One moment, guys. Here we go.
Perhaps something that if you cut someone's skin, it would be effective, or something that you could put in an individual's drink. So if you lace your a blade of some sort with it, for example.
Yes, well, I have the Umber Hulk Brain Brew, which is a rare, thick, dark brown drink. After being ingested, the user becomes very sleepy and loses most of their memory of the most recent, up to 6 hours, but if you're lucky, up to 12 hours, depending on the individual, the body weight, the height.
Understood.
That has to be ingested, however.
Understood.
Perhaps a truth serum. Is that something that you'd be interested in?
Ooh,
Is it effective?
yes.
Do you know if it is effective?
Which one? The Umber Hulk?
The truth serum.
It is indeed.
Understood. How much do you know about shapeshifters?
I know a great deal about shapeshifters. What do you need to know?
Do you
How
have
do we make-
anything? How do you have anything that makes such creatures appear in their truthful state or normal state?
Well, I imagine if you were to give a doppelganger a truth serum, they would not be able to deny their identity. However, they may be able to remain in their shape if they're fully conscious and fully alive.
So you know not of anything that will force them to go out of their normal shape.
Well, I have many things that can kill them.
Very well. The truth serum would be interesting.
I agree.
And you were also mentioning something that would work on an abrasion of the skin, such as the assassin's blood.
Mm-hmm. That's
Someone that's subjected to this would be poisoned for about 24 hours, and it greatly weakens them. It makes them slow to respond to things, but they would not be entirely unconscious.
Understood. That would be of interest as well. What would you require as payment for these things, these items?
Well, it depends what you're looking for. If you're looking for something that is contraband, that might cost a little extra. Maybe something that I haven't mentioned yet.
What is considered contraband?
Something that's very, very hard to come by. Something that is somewhat rare in these parts. You don't find these things unless you're in the far east of the Orc lands.
Understood. So, would you consider these to be that? And could you give a specific number or, whichever, something concrete?
Well, if I must be frank with you, anything that I sell must be used for your own business and must not involve that of the red coin or the crimson coin. That is the agreement I have with them. Things that I sell must never be used against them. So if your business is not concerning them, then I have no concern what you use it for.
Well, no, we wouldn't use these with them.
Very well. He reaches over and takes out a small wooden case and slowly opens it, and he produces in the candlelight a small flask that is purple in hue. And he has a very difficult time hiding his smirk. You know that what he's holding is something that he treasures greatly. He says this is the purple worm poison. So when he says that, I would like each of you to make... Let's see what kind of roll we're going to do today, ladies and gentlemen.
No, Lauren's going to get a nat 20.
Not necessarily. Probably
that's going
never.
to be... there used to be like an alchemy thing. All of you make a medicine roll, actually. Medicine is not rolled enough these days.
It is purple.
It is
That's what I
indeed
got.
purple.
Rawls knows what's up.
So Ulrich is not entirely sure what it is. Was that was a 17 for you, Lorian, or was that from earlier?
Mm-hmm.
That was
17 for me.
All right. So Lorian, your history, although you're very intelligent and although it's a high roll, wouldn't exactly pinpoint what this is without an explanation. You do know that. Did he say what it was? Did he say? He did say purple worm. Okay. So all you know is that a purple worm is a rare and large beast, and it's something that is extremely, extremely dangerous. It's a gargantuan monstrosity, and it is not to be messed with, and it is very rare. So anything that could be potentially contrived from its body or its glands must be extremely hard to come by. This isn't something that you just find in even the Dwalin Mountains or something like that. You can't just go out and hunt it. This is something that Kurdu Steelback couldn't just go out and hunt. This is something that, you know, like a war party would have to take down, or a very talented mage or warrior. And Rohal, since you have a little more experience with that of nature combined with this high medicine roll, you know that the glands of the purple worm are extremely venomous, and the venom in there is one of the most potent venoms in the entire realm, in existence rather, that can be extracted and kind of concentrated into something that can be used to lace a blade or an arrow or something of that sort. And as he takes this and holds it into the candlelight, he says, "This is poison that must be harvested from a dead or incapacitated giant poisonous snake." In other words, I'm sorry, I'm reading the wrong description. The incapacitated purple worm. This will do a significant amount of damage to any wound that it touches, whether it be laced on a blade, an arrow, or anything of the sort.
And
So
defense?
Ulrich and Lorian make an intelligence roll. Actually, you can all make an intelligence roll for. I want you to remember something. So
Ah, sweet.
as he says, arrow, you
Mhm.
immediately remember. Let's see. We're waiting on Rohal's intelligence roll.
You said intelligence. Yeah.
So Rohal not so much, but Lorian and Ulrich in particular. You remember that Solomon said that he thinks the one way to complete this heist is to have the greatest archer in the party, or a talented archer that you can hire to use their arrow to slay the king. And you believe that this purple worm poison might be something that could be indeed laced on an arrow to make that a most effective assassination, should you go ahead with that plot.
And what would you charge for enough to put on 3 arrows?
This is enough to put on 2 arrows.
Oh,
And
right.
this would cost 2,000 gold pieces, sir.
That's a lot of money.
Hmm.
And if you want half of the vial, that will cost you 1,000 gold pieces for 1 arrow. This is not easy to come by, yet my prices are even better than that of Venzia.
Understood.
Regarding the other where we were talking about,
The truth
truth
serum.
serum.
The truth serum,
Uh,
yes.
Could you elaborate on that?
Yes, that would cost you a mere 50 gold pieces. It is not too far from the zone of truth magic that many clerics and druids use. Not all druids know the spell. Out of character, I don't remember if druids know that one. Let's see.
I don't
Let's see
think it's
here.
actually considered truth.
Okay, we're gonna retcon that. That is just
cleric.
bards, clerics, and paladins. My apologies. So he says clerics. He doesn't say bards or paladins though.
Hmm.
You can make an
Understood.
arcana. You can make an arcana roll if you'd like to know more about that particular magic roll.
Sure, why not?
Right. So 11 is good enough. Actually, you've heard of it. So when Zone of Truth is cast, essentially the person must speak the truth. The spell normally takes about 10 minutes of truth, but this truth serum would last for an hour once ingested. And the person must only speak the truth or nothing. So if they are pressed to speak, they will speak the truth, even if they're compelled to speak.
You know how much the temples have been charging for a cure to the rot?
Yes, sir.
2,000 gold, I believe it was.
And what is your point,
And
Sir Elf?
I have just taught you how to make the cure to the rot yourself.
I'll have you know that take out the list and go over it with me, if you will.
Yes.
Orticusp flower. If you're lucky, you might find a few horticulture shops, or even shops of my caliber or less might have the Orticusp flower, or if someone who may wander into the Fey realm. Ember Berries, those are only found on some of the far outer realms. Djinn Blossoms, those are not found on this realm either. The realm of flames or something of the like. Ice Table Mushrooms, if you're lucky enough, and if you choose to venture up into the northern Dwelling Mountains, you can find them up there. I just don't happen to have a supply at the moment, but they do make their way in and out. Giant's Blood. Good luck trying to find a giant that would willingly give his blood to you.
Oh, well, I mean, we did. But go on.
Did you know?
Oh, yeah, we've made this cure before.
I'm willing to purchase
Fantastic.
any. I'm willing to purchase any strange plants that you may have on you.
That's a good point.
I happen to have some mushrooms, in fact, that you might be able to identify. We talked to this Well,
useless, pompous prick of a court magician who didn't know anything.
what he said. Would you care to take a look?
Yes, please. Bring them over here and bring them on the table, if you will.
Walk in between you guys and put it right there on the table. The chest with a. Right, not the chest. Only like a bag with mushrooms, like 30 of them. Was it 30 or 20?
For some reason, those herbs that
And they were multicolored. These were picked in the Fey world in a labyrinth. I don't know the name of the labyrinth. I don't know much about it, but the mushrooms were covering the grounds, and they got more intensely colored as depending on the direction we were headed, and we were heading towards the. I can't recall the name they used, or I used. I asked the labyrinth to bring me to its, not master, to its grower. How do you say that?
Well, like like a keeper, like a
Keeper. Yeah, the labyrinth's keeper. And the labyrinth opened a gate for me, basically through the wall, and we followed the wall. Me and a couple of other people I was with back then, and the ground was completely covered by these mushrooms. And we also found some other mystic items that were in, I don't know, like on the ground, and like these huge axes belonging to minotaurs actually protecting this labyrinth. Anyways, that's a different story. The mushrooms, do you recognize them?
I do. Out of character, how many do you have? How many were you given? Does it say?
Hold on. I'm gonna check the inventory.
Okay. Regardless of the number. If there is no number, you will have 4 of them. If there's a number, we'll go with that number.
No, I know it's either 20 or 30.
Damn.
Yeah. Multicolored mushrooms. Apparently 23.
23, okay.
Yeah.
He says, yes, these are indeed from the Fey realm, and what you speak is the truth. These are pixie table. They are rare. They can grow as tall as 1 foot. You've cut them as they were small. These sometimes can grow into dark lavender caps, and they can be found in any woodland, but most commonly in the Feywild. But if boiled with cloth, they can dye the cloth lavender, but more importantly, you can boil these down, and they become part of what we call clarity of mind. And it allows whoever ingests these to regain much of their spellcasting clarity. So out of character, that mechanic means you will regain all of your all of your level 1 spell slots when you ingest one of the clarity of mind boiled pixie table mushrooms. So for each one of those, if you boil them down into sort of a pasty substance, a red substance, you can regain all of your level 1 spell slots.
Fuck.
really strong.
But you should
I don't
find
know that many level 1, but
and he says if you do boil this down, you need to try to keep it preserved, keep it away from sunlight, keep it away from air, keep it away from water, but most importantly sunlight, to preserve this red paste.
Excellent. Is that a service you would be able to provide?
To boil it down, but of course, you can use my pot right there. In fact, it's ready to go. And he points behind you. And he says, that means you will have to spend a few moments here. Perhaps you'd like to purchase a little something while you're waiting.
I have something else I would like you to inspect.
Of course, go ahead.
While I start preparing, I just right before I start preparing, I put the chest up with a pixie. Was it a pixie corpse?
It was some fake
It was
corpse.
called pixie. Yeah, right. The invisible corpse. We haven't identified it yet. So in this box, as you can see, it looks empty, but there is in fact, a corpse in here. I am not all too sure how to identify it. Another thing we try to get into the library about, what he said. Tried to be whatever. Would you be able to identify this, or
He peers in and he
what I
says,
could do it?
He peers in and says, I'm sorry, but this is not my specialty.
Do you have a colleague of some sort with such a specialty?
I can't say that I do. I can't say that I do, he says. But he says, if you do bring me any plants or substances from such realms as the Feywild, I can help you identify those things and perhaps even buy them from you. But this creature I cannot use in any of my tinctures, unfortunately.
Hey, Rad. Out of character, did Cedric give me his flowers and herbs and stuff, or did he keep those?
As far as I know, he gave them to you.
Okay, yeah, because this, like, you changed characters out between games, so I didn't get. So I don't know what you gave me, which we probably should have worked out a couple of games ago.
Yeah,
I'll give you access to his character sheet,
Okay.
and you can look at it, and we can discuss that.
Yeah, because I want to know if we've got like stuff that we can't use anymore but could sell.
money.
You should now have access to it.
No.
Um,
Okay, let's see.
He says, might I ask what your business here is in Gryhold? I can tell you're not from here.
Well, we are trying to make an effort to lessen the pain of these. I can't recall the name. You call him Gungadin sometimes. What is his name? Lorian?
Gonadar.
Could you take over
Gunadar.
here? Gonadar, that's it.
He's back. That's his new name. From now on, that is forever his name.
And, well, not sure you would look at yourself in such a manner, but we're some helpful souls in these endeavors. Not particularly looking for reward, but rather for, well, lifting the world up, say.
So as you say that, I'd like all of you to make a perception roll, not including Falminar.
Boy. Oh, I see things.
Ooh.
Did I hit it twice or? Oh,
Yeah,
sorry.
twice.
Sorry about that. I didn't hear the weep.
Well, it wasn't big of a difference anyway.
So, Ulrich, you notice an amulet that he wears is of some symbol of some significance. Make a religion roll, please.
Where is it?
And Rohal, you also notice an amulet that he wears. Make a religion roll.
Probably not one.
Ulrich is not quite sure what that is. Rohal thinks it's familiar and realizes it is of a deity, but he's not sure what deity.
I step over to Lorian and point out that he has an amulet, and I describe it to her to see whether.
What to give me the description?
Sorry, him.
It is a symbol of 3 teardrops in a triangle. And you also notice that he had the tattoo as you first entered the room with a similar design.
Well, it's not Gonadin. So there's
Gonadar.
that. Gonadar. Sorry. I'm sorry, Steve. You know me in names.
We gotta tell Gungadin about this.
You remind me of like a grandma trying to like list off Pokemon.
Yes. Did you catch one of those Gungadars?
All right. Well, Well, I was sort of thinking about like she, since I described it to her, she would also be able to make a religion roll.
Sure. Will you allow that, Steve?
Yes, because you whispered it to him.
Oh my
Also, you're also aware that it is one of the deities, but you can't quite recall what it is.
Okay.
God dang it! All right.
Would having had connections to the church have helped, or is it not?
Not
Still
really.
something might be familiar.
No.
Hey, I see you're religious in some manner. May I ask what do you believe in?
I do wear the symbol of Talona with pride, as you see my tattoos and my amulet. Talona is the lady of poison, the mistress of disease, the mother of all plagues. But don't be alarmed, I'm not one for the rot. I don't believe that. She is the source of the rot. That's not how she works, you see. But she has
we
brought
know
me,
the source of the rot. Sorry, go ahead.
She has brought me great fortune by selling these substances, you see. I have always been this way, tired, unable to sleep. And it is because of that inability to sleep that has brought me to try different substances to bring me energy when the moon is up and have me lay my head to the pillow. Without these substances and things that are like these substances, I would never be able to do so. So I thank her every day for the ability to numb my mind and body when it is time to lay my head, and because of that, I take a liking to Talona, the Lady of Poison.
Oh, do you want to know the source of the rot? Because we know that too, actually.
It has crossed my mind on more than one occasion. As I knew it wasn't Talona at heart, I knew it must have been from some darker place.
Oh yes, it's a necromancer in a tower. Steve hit me with the name of the place.
In Northold, and you also believe
Northold.
that it was the necromancer meddling with the negative plane.
Right. Because he was meddling with the negative plane.
The negative plane is a place that has no plants, it has no poisons, it is a negative to this very world. Necromancers do often meddle with the negative plane. They speak to the other side through the negative plane. It's no surprise that such a deep and dark plague originated from there. What makes you think that it came from there?
Well, okay. We've been having a run-in with the
That which
Damn it.
lurks. That might be easier for
that
you.
which lurks. Thank you.
Gungadar.
Gungadar, yes.
Gonadar.
And
Yeah.
Gonadar. Thank you. Gonadar. And one of his agents. And he's the cultists that worship him are practicing mass human sacrifice of slaves. And the slaves are all currently catching and dying of the rot, which means he can't use them. So, knowing that the rot was something that I was fighting, he told me because he thought, well, that maybe I would be sympathetic enough to the people dying of the rot that I would cure it because that would help them instead of trying to free the slaves. That's not going to work out well for him, but I thought the more people who listen and know, the more chance there is that both of these issues will be taken care of. So I'm blabbing it all over town.
He seems to be a little glossed over by all this information, and it seems to be a little bit over his head. And he does seem to look over your shoulder to see if he can see his previous patron through the cracked door. And he says, have you checked up on her recently? Is she all right out there?
Somebody, Fulminar, go check on her.
That's a good question that I don't think we have the answer to.
Yes.
So Falminar actually picks her up very easily and brings her inside.
That's a good
And,
plan.
Just drop her
yeah.
on the floor.
He puts her down gently.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see here, getting that token. Whee!
She shrunk.
She's
Oh,
a
never
tiny.
mind.
And she
The candy from
Uh,
freaking Fortnite.
she is there, and we're gonna put this over here. Why is my PC lagging? That's not very nice. Hope it doesn't crash my... There we are. Lance takes the time to set up this little bay hay bale thingy. And we're gonna bring her to the front of the tokens. There we are. And he lays her down there, and she actually awakes. And comes to her senses. And we are going to restore her token. There we are. And she's sort of sitting up in the hay and is a bit bewildered and is looking around confused at all these new faces.
Kind of
Not
milky,
dead.
not gonna lie. I mean, what?
She's not dead, so we're
She's
good.
not dead. She's not dead. And she says, "Thank you for bringing me inside. I wasn't expecting that to have that effect on me."
You didn't ask before you took it. Didn't get directions.
He didn't tell me the specifics of it. I should have asked, and he should have told.
Does a thing. Chug
Mhm.
chug down the gullet. That's a bad idea.
And Lance says, "You were quick to buy and quick to run out the door. If you don't want to have the likes of me, then perhaps you might not get the information you require." And so she says, "You know that I was just trying to find my son and win him back. His father's a dastardly man. I'll do whatever it takes to find him and kill him."
Oh. I get an observing juicy gossip look on my face.
Roll insight, Lorian.
Roll insight for gossip.
Yes.
So you can tell
It's
that these two have only met this one time, and she was somewhat afraid of this man's appearance. He is pretty fucking sketchy and slithery looking. He's pale. He looks like he's a drug addict. And he did disclose to you that he does take substances to sleep every night because he doesn't sleep otherwise. She doesn't seem to be someone who's privy to a lot of these drugs and things and how they work. And she came here looking for answers, trying to find her son. And she got in a little too deep and took a little too much. That seems to be the situation here. But you can also tell that, you know, she's wearing pretty decent armor, so you know that she is one who is indeed an adventurer in one form or another, or at least
So,
dresses.
who are you?
So. My
Who
name
are
is
you?
Giva Liadon, Paladin. At your service.
Good to meet you. So, you're roaming
as
the
well.
lines for, remind me again, what was it?
My son. His father is a no-good man who beats him, and I had a feeling that he came here by ship from Venzia. I'm looking for him, to put a sword through his heart and to win back my son, who originally thought that it would be better to spend his time with him, but he knows better now.
Anyone we might know of?
Can your son corroborate this? Can he tell us the truth of what you say? I mean, I don't mean to be rude, but you're talking about killing someone. We don't know you.
Perhaps I spoke with passion. I don't need to kill the man, I just need to get my son back, you see.
You were pretty clear about running a sword through his heart, but what's he look like, and what's his name?
He looks like a philanderer. His name is Destin. My son is Standal. Standal Liadon.
I look at my party. Anybody heard either of those? Seen any of those?
What
No.
do you know what profession there, and where would you potentially find them, and why would you take this drug to remind yourself of them if, yeah, I mean, it would cloud your mind and your pursuit of retrieving your son would be most counterproductive.
There are ways to see what hasn't yet come to pass, and I know this man has substances that allow you to do so. And I'm
Have
a
I ever heard
paladin. You have heard of divination magic for
Oh,
sure.
I was talking like the people.
You have not. None of you have heard
Yeah.
of these people. And she says, I'm a paladin, and I know that I will not stop until I either die or find my son. So by seeing glimpses of the future, I know whether or not I have completed my oath to find him.
Did it work?
I saw the 9 hells, and the fires that burn within, and I saw a demon there. A demon looking for a young person, but not my son. A demon looking for a young tiefling girl.
Oh, wait, hold up. A
Plot
young
twist.
tiefling girl.
A
Did he
young
say her
tiefling
name?
girl. He did not say her name, no.
Concerning.
Visible concern.
Visible concern, yes.
Why do you ask? Do you know any tieflings around here?
I know a young tiefling girl that we rescued from slavers.
Slavers, my goodness.
Yes, there's a huge slavery problem. Is your god against slavery?
But of course,
What god do you serve?
most paladins serve a god. I do not choose to serve a god, but my oath is to go after and protect my son at all cost. Since the day I gave birth to him, that is my purpose in life.
So you're a paladin for your son.
Aye.
That's very specific.
I'm a paladin. I'm a paladin for hire, of course, but I refuse to
Okay.
do evil of the worlds and things like that, of course.
Right.
Would
It's just-
you be inclined? You already know about the rot, I assume. About
Yes,
the
of course.
disease that plague these lands.
My journey here was
We
not
are-
easy.
Understood. We are working to get our hands on acquiring items to create a cure, and get rid of the cure, get rid of the disease from these lands overall, from where it comes. And we are quite well on our way. Would you like to band up? Since you're saying you are for hire, but if you know,
Go.
I'm just gonna wait for an answer there. Not really finish my sentence, just like fade off, I guess.
It depends where you're traveling, because I need to find my son, she says.
Where is your son?
She just said she had a feeling that he was in this city or had come through it.
We will be in the city for
A little while.
a while. Yeah, for now. Would you like to-
Concern washes over her face as she thinks of the implications, and then addresses Lorien and says, "You spoke of slavers. Do you know if the slavers were in this city, or where they may be next?"
So the slavers that we rescued the tiefling from are now dead. However, there is an overarching problem with that which lurks beneath. His cultists are sacrificing slaves en masse to summon giant pink crystals that destroy temples of other gods, and for transportation and other nefarious purposes. And there is a massive mine in I don't know what it's called, Steve. Oh, the other place.
Ivestad.
Iverstad, yes. Ivestad. where they are planning to perform a massive sacrifice. However, the rot is ravaging through that population of slaves at this time as well. The source of the rot is a necromancer who fucked around with a negative plane and lived
She
in a tower.
says, do you plan to go to Ivestad?
I do eventually when I'm able. We've actually been trying to decide if we wanted to try to stop the rot first or free the slaves and stop that which lurks beneath, of course. But then the slaves are mostly infected with the rot. But also, I don't know if stopping the source of the rot would stop the rot altogether, as it is a disease that can be cured. I am uncertain as to whether that would make it just go away or just stop more cases of it from spreading at the source.
All of you roll an insight, please.
Mhm.
Insight.
Ooh, man,
Bam.
Lorien is getting some killer rolls today.
I mean,
What
last
is-
time I got horrible rolls, so.
She's telling the perfect truth. I know what we're talking about.
So
Okay.
Lorien sees a great concern wash over her face. And you see her connecting the dots when you say Ivestad slavers. And when you mention things about the rot, it seems to not interest her at all, and you can tell that she's seen her fair share of the plague through her travels here, from Venzia.
Mm-hmm.
But you can see that great concern washes over her face when you mention Ivestad, and the slaves, and the mines, and she speaks and says, I will be indebted to you, instead of you indebted to me, if I may travel with you to Ivestad. For my son is there, I believe, if he is not here in Gryold. I have seen the seer in Malar's Throat district, and she has shown me things. I believe that he may be heading there next.
Very well. Question. If we go and we free the slaves, how can we keep them alive and protect them from the cultists if they're all suffering from the rot?
You have no way of knowing whether the rot is there or not. No one does.
Oh, I know. I know that it's there. I've had a run-in with gods and their agents.
You see the dots that she's connecting complicate in her thoughts. The same look on her face that you've had when you were making these connections, and the moral dilemmas that you had to decide over. You discern that she doesn't know whether or not her son is being sold into slavitude with the little information from the diviner known as the seer in Malar's Throat, and she doesn't know if she needs to go to Ivestad first to free her son, or try to go up against some unknown magics in Northold to stop the plague first. But from what she knows, and she is very determined, she says, I just need to get to Ivestad. I believe my son is there. And we have to hope that he does not have the rot.
We have also sworn, some of us have also sworn an oath to go there to free the brother of a man who helped us free the slaves that we already did free and make our way through the Dwalin Mountains.
Lance leans over his counter and says, you do realize that no one is leaving the city while the port is closed.
Oh yes, we do have to take care of that first.
What do you mean by take care of it, sir?
Well, some things are better left unsaid. However, that substance that we discussed and now we're going to discuss vaguely earlier, I have a question about the pricing of some items. Speaking of the cure of rot, what would you pay me for a complete Orticus flower plus 5 Orticus petals, 2 Ember Berries, 1 vial of giant's blood and 2 dried ice table mushrooms.
You have these things on you now, do you?
Yes.
Let me have a look at them.
Hmm.
So he looks over them. What did you store the giant's blood in?
It is in a glass sealed vial, I believe.
He says, I will give you 60 gold for all of these and another 100 just for the Ember Berries.
And how much would you take off the price of 1 dose for access to information about the cure, given how useful all of these items are towards that? As a professional courtesy, darling.
I have no proof that that cure will work. And surely you have to understand that. I don't specify in cures. I specify in poisons and in substances that free your mind, as I've made so clear.
Well, your deity goes both ways. Wouldn't that be, I don't know, some form of inclined towards you doing the same? Since technically your sleeping potions that help you, as you say, they are a form of cure to your predicaments.
If I were to use such a cure, and if it did indeed work, I would more likely use it on myself, you see, as Talontar, as we are called, the worshippers of Talona. We often spend much of our time building immunities to various diseases and poisons, and even the Umber Hulk Brain Brew, I would say I have a resistance to. Because of this practice.
I see. Well, I suppose if you don't see your own life as being worth any kind of a discount, I understand that, I suppose. You might find what we're doing quite good for business, however. I'm gonna try to haggle with him. Let me see if
He
I
says,
can,
I'm sure you're aware that the less imports there are in the bay, the higher the prices are on my things.
until you run out of things.
I have my resources. I told you I'm associated with the Red Coin. I have no problem with saying that in the open. They can get their hands on things that no sailor can get their hands on.
So I rolled a 16 in Persuasion. Can I haggle him down from 1,000 for 1 dose at all?
Absolutely, but let me see. Let me take a look here. So what method of persuasion are you using? What are you saying? What are you doing?
Oh, fuck. Well, I'm gonna tell him that he and I both know that that's quite a markup that he's giving us there for that venom, and while it is certainly valuable, don't think I'd be willing to pay quite that much.
He
So
says,
it doesn't seem like he cares how.
He says, well, part of the markup of this substance is because it is so incredibly contraband. And how can someone like me be so sure that you will not have this information lead back to me? Giving you a discount is one way of saying thank you for ensuring the trust that you impart from this transaction. Now, how can I be so sure of that? What can you do for me?
Well, for one thing, we already know that you have it. We haven't gone running out into the streets and cried foul, now have we? Besides, if I purchase it from you, then I'll have it in my person, so it would behoove me to not advertise its existence either.
Pixie table mushrooms, and I will have the price.
I turn to Rohal.
Sorry, I spaced out dealing with these plants.
He'll give us 500 gold off, which means it would only cost us 500 gold for 1 dose of the poison if you give him the pixie table mushrooms.
That I am now cooking and making potions out of.
Paste, but yeah.
Paste, yeah. How much were the platinum coins worth?
10 gold.
10 gold, correct.
Okay.
One
Right.
is 10 gold.
I think Lorian's the only person that has the kind of gold to buy this poison at all.
I think so.
I'm fucking loaded, but
I have like 100 gold. Well, on my character, in actuality, I have 9,000, but that's a different story. So I have 23 mushrooms, and that would be 23, pastes.
yeah.
Portions,
So he's basically offering 500 gold for that.
It's not like I'm slow right now. How much is that per dose?
Do you want us to do math?
I'll pull the calculator 1 second. How many mushrooms?
23.
23.
It's approximately 21.7 gold pieces per mushroom.
That sounds a little bit too slim for for the usefulness of these as a combat enhancer or whatever you want to call it.
He says 20 gold per mushroom. You can choose how much you would like to lower the cost of the purple worm poison.
How much I would like to lower it?
That is the only thing you have amongst you adventurers that could indeed lower the cost of the purple worm poison.
Yeah. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I think we should go for it, but it's not my mushrooms, so.
Well, if you have the money, why don't you go for that?
I don't have that much money. I mean, I don't want to lose most of my money for one shot that might or might not hit. So we could just decide to not do that. We could try and do it another way.
You just be like, it'll be fine.
We might be able to find something on our travels that gives us what we need.
We'll get back to you on that. But don't worry, your secret is safe with us. But I would like to purchase a truth serum.
Very good.
So I will purchase that.
I could actually. I do have the greater healing potion. Should probably sell that one. Yeah, I'm gonna do that.
You're gonna really? Okay.
Yeah, why not? No, go ahead. Yeah, it heals, but I got spells for that, and that's what I'm thinking. No, but I mean,
It's true. You're a druid.
is
Your
it
body.
better to keep, or should I?
I mean, I would keep it because
I would
then
keep it.
then if
No.
you don't have the spell slot or you need to use it on somebody else or what have you, or
Okay, yeah, I'll keep it then. So,
He says that'll be about 50 gold for the greater healing potion.
okay. I thought we looked it up. I thought it was like 100 or something. Whatever, it doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
I tend to do things about. My money is about half the value of vanilla.
Yeah.
So that means you get more money, but
Yeah,
things
I
cost a
understand,
little
yeah.
more.
Yeah.
Or vice versa, actually.
Hmm.
Things cost a little cheaper because you get a little more money, or whatever.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying. There's just
Yeah,
more
there's
money
a lot.
There's more money going around. There's more money going around.
Yeah.
Slightly.
Let's see here. Well, yeah. No, I'm. How long is it supposed to take for the multicolored mushrooms to?
You have another
pick some mushrooms too.
15 minutes. He says, I have a great many deal of other things. I have burnt other fumes. I have crawler mucus. I have drow poison, malice,
We
midnight
know
tears.
very little of what they do, so if you explain what the different things do, we might find, use for them.
Now that I think of it, I think the oil of Taggett might be something you were looking for, Mr. Elf there. If this touches somebody's skin, this person may potentially be poisoned for up to a day and they'll be unconscious. But they have to have a great deal of fortitude in order to resist this oil. And out of character, that would be about a difficulty roll of 13 Constitution. So if they succeed that, it will not affect them. But if it does affect them, they'll be unconscious for 24 hours.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's pretty brutal. But if you lace a weapon with it, will you have like one slice and that's it, or can you like several times over hit the person with said laced weapon?
I think it laces it for like attacks for like a minute or something. I don't know how that works.
I would
Wow.
say about. I think in my homebrew we'll do like a one-time use because that's pretty powerful. But if it's a regular poison, like just a basic poison, we'll do like a minute of use. But like any of these specialty poisons, it's like a one-time use because like a one-time knockout is pretty powerful if the dice are in your favor. If not, I'll say maybe it will do like give them like a disadvantage on like dexterity and things like that.
All right.
Make them drowsy.
And that sounds quite interesting. What would you like for that?
25 gold pieces for that.
All right, per dose, I assume.
Correct.
All right, I shall take 2.
50 gold. You have 2 oils of Taggett.
How do I remove that in that case? From the Roll20 sheet.
You just put in a
Literally,
different number.
you just click on it and change the number on the left side of your gold.
Okay, all right.
Yep. So
There we
Taggett
go,
is
and
spelled
you-
Taggit. Oil of Taggett. I will DM you the description of it,
Sure.
and I will also add the part about the disadvantage on Dex. There you go.
Marvelous.
It's a pretty calm session today. Very calm, little bartering, a little bit chilling in a shop, you know.
It's
Yeah,
chill.
sorry, I'm so tired.
No, it's definitely chill. I'm actually in like a very chill mood today too. It's not a hardcore like everyone
Yeah.
getting their throats slit and like separated in a dungeon. It's a very calm session today.
Just chill. We vibe.
Yeah. Considering you have some very
It's the shopping episode.
you have a lot of you have a lot of extreme options. You have a conspiracy to try to break into a great library, hit up a thieves guild, go through sewers, use deck of many things. There's lots of many potential routes.
Yeah,
but-
that's on our agenda right now.
But this one is a very calm choice. You guys are chipping away at some story stuff, preparing yourselves for bigger things yet to come. It's very nice, very nice. I think any D&D session that doesn't have those sessions, like, very much lacks a little bit of the build-up and the prep, you know. Things that go too fast can definitely get a little bit crazy. People start dying.
Right. Since I'm sitting here right now, and we have wizards in the company. That scroll. Do you want to copy it over?
I think that would take a little too long. But yeah, your mushrooms are ready now.
Okay.
They're good to go. You're
Oh, they're
all set.
ready. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Dope. What do I write in that case?
Oh, sorry. They were listed as right. We're calling those just call them pixie and call them pixie table paste. And then I can just give you a description of that in DMs because it's too much to write in your equipment slot.
Yep.
And you can just keep track of the number of them.
Each
mushroom.
I'm writing.
Each mushroom provides one paste, which is great.
Yeah. I wrote down 23. Yeah.
And that works for any type of spellcaster. That could be warlock, it could be wizard, it could be anything. Or druid.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Oh. All right.
So Giva says, make sure to find me before you depart Gryhold. I'll find my way to whatever tavern it is you're staying in, and I'll stay there until you decide.
Oh yes, we tell her what tavern we're at.
And she says to Lance, I will pay the 5 silver for your services of resting here while under your substances. She says with disgust. And he nods and says yes. The hay you'll find is quite soft. He basically charges for people to like have their trips here, so to speak.
His opium den.
Pretty much.
Oh, so this paste is not clarity of mind. I need other.
No, it is clarity of mind. I just thought it would be easier to type that into your inventory. You can call it either. The Pixie Table paste. So Pixie Table has become a paste called Clarity of Mind. That's just its nickname. It's not a vanilla substance. It is a homebrew substance that I've borrowed from online homebrew resources that I've tweaked to the liking of the story.
Gotcha.
Yep.
All right. Well, the pot and the water is well appreciated. And what about you looking at the woman? Did you say we moved or?
She said she'd meet us at the tavern of our choice.
Before you choose to leave the city, or whenever
Before
you're
we
able
leave,
to leave
yeah.
the city and things like that, and you can revisit that and choose what you would like to do with the hireling, so to speak, or quest.
Yeah. But what is she gonna do while we're here?
She's gonna look for her son and clues about her son, probably.
Yeah, she's gonna try to pursue that and see if her son is indeed in Gryhold. If it's not, she mentioned there is a seer, and there's a seer shack in the Malar's Throat district of the city that she purportedly was able to see some divination sightings of her son, and she didn't divulge exactly what she saw, but she believes that he may be in danger of being sold into slavitude if she doesn't find him before he gets to Ivestad.
Mm-hmm.
So you have a few. I just out of character, I'm gonna give you guys a little bit of a pro tip, so to speak. Game tip, because you have a lot of different plot lines. It's been kind of winding, and this music is really relaxing. And even I'm feeling it. I had like 2 Ls, just kind of getting chilled in DM mode. And so you know that all the information Solomon told you is on the table. You have the Great Library, which if you choose to either break into it or sneak into it or fight your way into it or use some sort of sneaky way to get in with some kind of embassy or whatever, there's a very difficult way to find what you're looking for in there without the map of the library, which is purportedly held by the Red Coin or Crimson Coin Thieves Guild. They have more than one way to get in there. You can either just try to break into the Thieves Guild safe house and make your way to their underground lair, You also heard that there is a wine rack with a cellar in the Lucky Squirrel that may or may not lead down there. And I will say out of character that there might be more than two ways down into the network of underground layer that may or may not exist in Gryhold that lead to the Thieves' Lair. You also heard that 2 different churches were destroyed by these crystals. One may or may not still have crystals in them. One is in the Merchant District, and one is in the Harbor Ward.
The Harbor Ward
know.
one had its crystals taken away.
You've got a lot of little leads that you can choose what to do with them. Some of them may be dead end, some of them may not be, some of them may unveil more. You know, you got some stuff. So
We still got plans.
yeah.
Well, which of the different places are the closest?
Well, we're in the Merchant District, so I think we should probably check out the church that got destroyed.
Yeah, I was just gonna say.
Stuff.
Very good, very good.
I thought
We
that
can
was the
do
closest
that.
one, so let's do that.
The church is near the Lucky Squirrel, but you would hit the church before you get to the Lucky Squirrel.
Okay.
I will also say, out of character, if Roosevelt wanted to, we could streamline and make it a very brief encounter with the blacksmith. If he wants a gilded flower, we could do
I
that
don't
very,
really
very
have
quickly.
funds for it, but yeah.
Remind me what that was about again? I don't even remember out of character. Why did you need a gilded flower?
Oh, it's for a spell. To summon a fey creature.
Magic.
Okay. So let's head over there briefly, because it's on the way. You have to go around the blacksmith to go southbound along that road. We'll make it very
You remember my
streamlined. I'm moving it for you. The blacksmith is basically just says that'll cost you only 5 gold to make a gilded flower. It's actually not very hard to make at all. It's just something that is just an ornamental thing. You just shape the steel.
Alright.
He says make your
And,
way back here sometime later tonight or tomorrow, and it should be ready.
Here's the flower as well.
He says
Hand
thank you
over
very
a flower
much.
to the to the
And
smith.
he says, do you want it to be a replica, or do you want me to keep the flower inside the metal?
Inside.
I see, I
So,
see. So that will take at least a day then. I will not be ready today. You can pay me
Understood.
tomorrow.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Alright.
So.
Much appreciated.
All right. So that is done. Let me. Nimlalwe, you guys left her
Why
behind.
the laugh though?
He's just a jovial fellow. He's you can see that he enjoys. You can see that he.
Bad guy later.
You
Are you
see that-
drinking, Steve?
I am drinking. That's why.
Yeah,
my,
okay, that's why.
That's why. That's
He's not
why.
bad.
That's his
He's
sketchy,
drinking.
I'm getting blasted chuckle.